Thursday, or as I like to call it, Doomsday, because what rhymes with Doomsday? Tuesday. And what happens on Tuesday? Absolutely nothing, but that can always change. And speaking of change, won't be long before 25 is switching to 26, being New Year's and all. Know what that means? More cases, more divorces, and more broken laws when it comes to the big T's. What are the big T's, you might ask? A special forbidden word those on the west side are especially familiar with, and the east, and the south. What point was I trying to make again? Speaking of wondering what the point was, I just had my 8th divorce not too long ago, and get a load of this. The old bag. Alright, that's enough monologuing, that's enough. Alright, we're done here. Stop, alright, just stop. Let's just move on, people. Holy shit, it's you. I remember you. Is that from 3 months ago, if I remember? That's right. Do you remember me? Detective Tingles at your service. That's right, the big T. Still illegal, unfortunately. Well then, if I remember you right, I feel like first of all, I should probably apologize. I said to you that we would see each other real soon, and well, 3 months later, here we are. But judging by how you look, you don't seem like you've been going through withdrawal symptoms, so my theory is that you've been searching for other dealers in the meantime. Of course, that's what you have to do in these times of crisis. So, anyone I know? Samuel, of course, the big rich man himself. Very kind gentleman, one of my favourites. Me and him have a good relationship. Anyone else? The White Rabbit, of course, a classic. Well then, it seems to me like you've been doing awfully well for yourself in my absence. Again, with it coming to near the end of the year, well, things become awfully busy in our line of work, so in both Tingles and Detectives. On one side, I need to give my clients the fix they need, and on another, I need to track down said clients at the same time. So, juggling multiple businesses can be relatively difficult, as you can imagine, but I believe we've talked enough. I could see you getting a little bit antsy, so why don't we just get on to why we're here. You're here for your fix. I've got what you need. And in this case, you actually found me instead of the other way around. I'm impressed. So, do you have anything in particular you want, or are we just looking through everything? Okay. In that case, I do have a couple of things here. First off, I think just to make it look believable that you are just somebody coming to the police to help us out, to give us some information on some witnesses or whatever. Just taking some measurements of you, if that's okay, witness. And while I'm doing this, you can tell me how you've been handling these rules in this little world of ours. Okay, seems good to me. Okay, this is a little different, as you can see from your normal tape measure or anything like that. 1, 2, 3, just here, and then here, and then here as well. Okay. This is a unique trigger, and so of course highly illegal. But did you know that some of us in the force are allowed to actually use these for ourselves if we believe they are mandatory for tracking down certain ASMR users. Yeah, quite hypocritical, ironically. Okay, let me just make some points here. Alright. Okay, then just there, alright. Apologies for a sec, it's just taking me a while to figure out how this works. Okay. That is lovely. Alright, excellent start. Right then, let's move on to the next one. We have a lot to go through. Just keep looking at me and make it seem like you are giving me some information. So next, quick question. Have you ever wanted to make a wish? Have you ever felt the need that you wish for something that you can never have? Well, as it just so happens, there is a method. Do you know what this is? Well, let's just say fighters and dragons are quite fond of it. Collect 6 more of these bad boys and you will get yourself a wish. If you know how. But in the meantime, I can at least grant you one wish and give you something, some good sounds. If you remember me saying, like I was a broken record last time, of course anything can become a tingle. Anything can be used for ASMR. But the boys in the force, of course, don't realise that. Still. Because if they did, well, the entire world would be silent. And the beauty of this particular trigger is that you can make multiple sounds. From how you're looking, I would say that maybe you got a little bit of a resistance to some triggers now. Given what I assume that you've been going with other dealers for quite a while, you look like you maybe aren't as phased as last time, but I can tell you're still maybe dozing off just a little bit. I'll be very careful. Alright. Doing good so far? Still hanging in there? Fantastic. Okay, well then. Don't ask me what this is. Trust me, you don't want to know. Just the important thing is, it's good for sounds. If it gets too much, please do let me know, because, well, the last thing we want is for you to be falling asleep in the middle of the street, because that is a surefire way for one night in a jail cell. Because although one night might not be too bad, well, in dog years it feels more like centuries. Okay. Even though you might have gotten a little bit of resistance, sometimes we still need to be more careful. And since I notice a couple of the boys watching me, don't turn around. We'll have to move on to a little bit more personal. Now, what so many don't realize in this town when it comes to illegal ASMR is that even your own body can be a trigger. So, would you mind if I just get a closer look at these ears? Thank you very much. Now, you were smart enough to wear earmuffs before seeing me. So, of course, this can be used to our advantage. That. Don't want you falling asleep there. You look like you were dozing off. We've got to make sure we look discreet here. I know it's a little bit disappointing, but sometimes that's how it goes. Don't worry. We can move on to another tingle straight away. It's not just the ears, it's the hands. The hands themselves, they can also be a trigger. little bit too overwhelmed, are we? Come on. Wake up, stay awake, come on. You feeling okay? So at this point I feel like I should just double check. Are you okay to keep going? Are you sure? Alright, fine, it's fine. Unfortunately, I do only have a handful left to go. But well, we'll work on it. Now, this is a special serum, very potent type of serum from a certain type of doctor. This is called Tingles serum. And this is very personal, let's say. Spraying it directly at your face, for example, would probably cause you to instantly fall asleep and probably stay asleep for potentially days on end. It is that strong. Because the dear old doctor had in his right mind to help out those who back then had tingle immunity. I can't imagine it's as popular these days given the obvious circumstances, but well, this was a special piece of evidence that they found before taking him in. I'm currently trying to help rescue him as we speak, but it's becoming difficult. So in the meantime, he allowed me to have this. As far as everybody else is concerned, it is just part of the evidence, and I'm just using it as a means to get ASMR fans out in the open, because unfortunately people aren't all too discreet. At the moment this starts getting sprayed, they start flocking like flies. In this case, because the nozzle isn't too relaxing, it actually keeps them away. So, to put it simply, the boys that decide to use this thinking it will bring them in, the ASMR users, well, they get a relatively big surprise when it actually sends them away, because this is actually a little bit too loud. So, we're not going to spray it. We're just going to shake it up just a little bit. And I think that's enough of that. You're doing surprisingly well given everything that I've shown you so far. And in fact, you're doing so well, I think I need to introduce you to a couple of friends of mine that I've picked up along the way, who also happen to be a fan of Tingles as well. Would you like to meet them? Yes, not human friends, but these two in particular are special little creatures that feed on ASMR. think of it kind of like a vampire, where they feed on the feeling people get when they're relaxing, when they're feeling sleepy, when they're planning to fall asleep soon. And ironically, they take that feeling and actually help wake you up, if that makes sense. That feeling you get when you are about to fall asleep, they eat that up. They take it from the air around you, and they take it for themselves. So although you can still stay relaxed, you won't fall asleep with these guys around. Given how lively these two are, I would say you're doing an awfully good job at feeding them. They seem very happy right now. You're a good candidate. And of course they are entirely harmless. They don't exist to hurt, merely help, pretty much. Okay, that's enough of that. Boys are coming along again. They are persistent when they see I'm talking with someone. Just give me a moment, make it seem like I'm working hard. Actually, this gives me another idea. Just make it look like I'm giving you my business card and just explaining how it works. Yes, unfortunately, quite a few that are still suspicious of me and still think that they believe I'm helping. Yes, unfortunately, there are some capable detectives on this force. But as I said before, the easiest way to make sure you don't get caught is to be on the force. To make sure you get an inside look, they can't touch you as long as you're careful. But that doesn't stop them from being suspicious or having their own personal theories about you and trying to find evidence to back it up. You never know how long this could go on for. I could end up getting caught, but until then, I'm better off trying to provide what should not be illegal. Okay, I've just given you my card. There we go. Now, in the meantime, I would continue. If I were you, I would continue to encounter those other dealers. I know there are quite a few popular ones, but although it has been a while since you and I have seen each other, I think it's for the best, for obvious reasons. Because if they start seeing you, they start recognizing you, talking to me more often than not, they'll start, not to make you afraid, they'll start following you, questioning you etc. As we do, but we can't let that happen, so now, if you remember, I also said this first time was free and you would need to pay for the rest. I've changed my mind on that one. I'm feeling generous this time of year. Again, you can't take anything with you, but I also want... what's the word? I won't forbid you from seeing anything in my stash. Think of it as a birthday gift. It's not your birthday, don't worry about it. I just wanted an excuse to use this. So, I'm afraid that this will be the last one of this stash. But aside from my incessant talking, I would say that you're looking relatively relaxed. So, are you feeling relaxed? Feeling tingled? I certainly hope so. So, I believe I've kept you here long enough. I'm sure that you would love to stay as long as you can to get as many more, but well, this is unfortunately not the case, not possible for the time being. But if you would like to, we can see each other again in this same spot. But this time you don't need to search for me, I will search for you. I already know how to track you down, but I won't tell you. Don't worry about it. But trust me, when I believe that you are ready for more, we will see each other again. But in the meantime, as I said last time, you keep your distance, keep your head down, just be very careful. And of course, if you need anyone found, anything that might be missing, Detective Tingles is on the case. So, until next time, my friend.